Okay, welcome to Wednesday Night Slides number 71. Got a potpourri today. I did a little bit of non-train stuff this month as well. And we're going to go back to 2008 for some steam photo charters. So let me get the screen share going. Whoops, let's see here. I need to get the full screen share going. You set this up ahead of time. It's my first month with new slide software. Stand by. Play full screen. That's what I wanted. And away we go. Well, thank you. There we go. Everybody see the opening slide there, okay?
Yep, you're
Yeah.
good.
Great. And as usual, if you want to jump in with a question or a comment, you can unmute yourself. Easiest way is use your space bar, hold it down, jump in, jump back out again. Okay, here we go. We're going to start off with some current events. It actually snowed. First, it's been a while since we had decent snow around here. So I heard horns. I live about a block and a half from Conrail's Deepwater Secondary, Pensgrove Secondary, whatever they call it these days, and heard horns down in Pensgrove. So I jumped in the car. This grade crossing is about a block and a half from the house, and got a Conrail shared assets train with CSX power coming up through actually through some snow for once. So just a little diversion from work. CSX has their heritage units out and running. I knew this was coming up, the New York Central Heritage Unit. So I drove over to Chester, Pennsylvania. I was monitoring the Philly Sub Facebook group, and somehow I managed to miss a post that reported the train down in Perryville. I didn't see it till about 30 minutes later. So I hopped in the car, drove over to Chester. When I got to Chester, there's a train going by going north. I missed it. So I had the scanner going, but I went back to the car, got in the car, started driving back to home. And just before I got on I-95 to cross the Commodore Barry Bridge, I heard this train on the scanner about a mile and a half south of me. So I whizzed around and raced back to my spot here and did get the shot. But I almost passed it on 95, and I would be really, really ticked off if I did. Went out looking for something to photograph one day, and I wound up at this Hindu temple up in Robbinsville, New Jersey, just above Trenton. It's a Hindu cultural center and temple, and it's about as close as you're going to get to actually being in India without leaving New Jersey. An amazing place. The architecture is just tremendous.
Where
Everything.
is that, Steve?
Sorry,
Where is that, Steve?
Robbinsville, just off of 130 above Trenton. Every one of these pieces of stone were cut in India and shipped over. And it's a giant jigsaw puzzle because every stone is unique. It only fits with the stone next to it. So everything is numbered. It has to be assembled in precise order. Now, the sun was supposed to come out on this day, and it never did. I need to get back up here on a sunny day and do some more photography. Free to get in. You need reservations on weekends. Weekdays, you can just walk in. And the tour was pretty interesting. Can't shoot anything inside on the tour, but outside photography is permitted. This was opened just last year, so it's brand new. like I said, this is about as close as I'll ever get to being actually in India. Uh, just like stepping into another country here. Speaking of another country, we're in Philadelphia here. Went up to Philly to drop in at the Woodland shop and see what was going on there. This is on Woodland Avenue, just below the shop. On Woodland, the shop is actually in the background on the extreme right hand side there. Inside the shop, the PCCs are still being worked on. Here we see one that's being rehabbed with the PCC wings in tape around the headlight. Another one up on the lift. As you can see, there's really isn't a whole lot left of the cars once they get them stripped down. Top to bottom, end to end overhaul. Reason I was there, I went to check out car number 9100. It is being painted in the as delivered 1980 SEPTA scheme with the broad stripes underneath the windows. The modern cars are mostly white. The most recent paint scheme, they're all the same cars. But this is getting the as delivered treatment. And here's a panorama shot taken with my camera about 8 or 9 photos just stitched together. You can see the all white, mostly white scheme on the car on the far left there. And here's the 9100. It was parked in a place that was hard to shoot. My camera couldn't do it. I wound up using my cell phone, which has a super wide angle lens, to shoot this photo here. $9,100 is the second car to get the as delivered paint scheme. And when I was finished at Woodland, I went out and found the first one, the 9000, the original Kawasaki car. It was out running on Route 13. So I followed it around a little bit. This is at the Yaden Loop, one of 2 spots where the streetcars actually leave the city limits of Philadelphia. The other one being Darby.
Nice picture, Steve.
Thanks. Then I headed down to the Maryland and Delaware in Federalsburg, Maryland. This railroad has been purchased by Carload Express, which operates the Delmarva Central Railroad, which the Maryland and Delaware connects to. At the end of the month, which is a couple days away now, is all. The Maryland and Delaware will still be the Maryland and Delaware, but it will be a subsidiary of Carload Express. And the RS3M locomotive, like you see here, there's 3 on the property, plus a couple other locomotives. They're all owned by the state of Maryland, and they're probably going to be put out of service. And Carload Express will bring in its own power, EMD switchers, most likely, off of the Delmarva Central. So this is the waning days of the RS3Ms down in Federalsburg. That's the old Pennsylvania Railroad Station there. That is the Maryland and Delaware's headquarters. And this is heading out of Federalsburg for the connection with Delmarva Central in Seaford, Delaware. And coming into Seaford. Some days they run like 25-car trains. The day I was there, they ran 3. And then once he's in Seaford, he does a little bit of switching. drops off cars for Delmarva Central, picks up cars that Delmarva Central dropped off, and runs around the train and heads back. Here's the return trip. They took that idler hopper car. They picked it up somewhere east of Federalsburg, but they had it when they got to Seaford. They used it as a buffer car between the locomotive and the propane tanks. But Friday is probably the last day that the 1203 will be running. On the way back, I stopped for another roadside giant I tend to shoot. This is Miles the Monster. That's a full-size car, full-size NASCAR car he's holding up there. But he stands outside of Dover International Speedway in Delaware, the Monster Mile. And Dover is noted for its concrete track. So Miles the Monster stands outside of the speedway there. Like I said, that's a full-size NASCAR car in his hand there, so you get some idea of the scale. On the way home from Dover, I had to brake my car hard at one point, and my camera tumbled onto the floor. And it landed hard enough that it broke the lens shade I keep on all the time, mostly because I lose lens caps all the time. I keep a lens shade on it constantly to protect the lens element. Anyhow, I broke the lens shield, and I immediately ordered a new one. That's here. It's on the camera already. What I didn't notice, though, was that it left a splotch on my lens from where the camera hit the floor. And a few days later, I was up on the river line up in Camden and picked up a couple of shots I always wanted to get. The 76ers have a training facility in Camden. And here's the river line going past the training facility. The splotch, I try to Photoshop it out. If you look just to the right, right on the edge of the 76ers sign, you'll see a little dark spot there. That's where the splotch was. I tried to get it out, but had mixed success with it. In this shot here, I couldn't do much with the splotch because it's right over top the 7 and 76ers. Just no way to Photoshop it out very well. There's also another splotch behind the traffic lights where it says Harbor Boulevard. So fortunately, this is only like 30 minutes away. I can always get back at these shots again. Also in Camden is your Victor Recording Company building. The splotch here is just to the right of the tower. Once again, I tried to get it out, but boy, it's a pain in the butt. Somebody who knows Photoshop better than me could probably take care of it in no time. I struggled with it. And another view of the Victor building. This time the splotch is actually somewhere in the building, and if it's not in the sky, it doesn't show up very much at all. So being not in the sky, it's there somewhere. I just don't know where exactly it is. Anyhow, once I got these processed, I immediately gave my camera a top to bottom cleaning, including the sensor. So it's back to where it should be again. And there's Nipper. This is in the Victor building. That is actually a reproduction of the original stained glass that used to be there. All 4 of the original stained glass windows all survive. They've been scattered, but the nearest one to the Victor building now is at the Camden Historical Society. And the Victor building has been redeveloped as apartments, condos. Went over to SMS. I can show this shot. This was embargoed yesterday because they hadn't released the information to the owner of the locomotive, which is the Reading Company Technical and Historical Society. Reading FP7 902 is just about done. It's in the shop and the paint booth, getting the last bit of work done on it. Its sister 903 will be the next one into the shop. It's over in the main shop getting rust removed. Once the rust is removed and the 902 is out of the way, the 903 will be put in here and given the same paint scheme. If you look carefully, you'll see little tiny pieces of green tape here and there on the engine. And there's one just below the R in reading lines on the diamond. Those little pieces of green tape are pointing to places that need to be touched up. And Woodstown Central posted a photo today of the locomotive, and all that tape is gone. So I guess they did all the touch-up work late yesterday or early this morning. Apparently, a fellow in the West Jersey chapter, Brian Yates, was doing panoramic photos at a train show on Saturday or Sunday, and with his cell phone. And then on the West Jersey chapter had a shop tour at the SMS on Monday, which I didn't go to, but because I had a magazine to get out. But then Dave Homer, who's here tonight, Dave took a panoramic shot with his cell phone inside the shop at SMS. And I'm like, hey, that's a really cool idea. So when I was over there on Tuesday, I did the same thing, did this panoramic shot with my cell phone. There's the 903 on the far left. You got a Baldwin switcher in SMS green, Reading green. You got a Baldwin switcher in PRR, probably Brunswick green. I don't think it's black. You got a GE beyond it, and then on the far right is the big Trona 6-axle Baldwin that's under a complete restoration. All right, that's it for the current stuff. We're going to go back in time to 2008, and we're going to do a steam train, steam freight on the New Hope and Ivyland. And we're going to start off at the New Hope station in New Hope, Pennsylvania. Consolidation number 40. It's worked for the Lancaster and Chester in South Carolina, as well as the Cliffside. And it's been New Hope's workhorse for decades now. So this is our first shot of the morning out near Lahaska, Pennsylvania. Nice freight consist. We actually rode in coaches, which are hidden behind the trees there to get from
Nice shot, Steve.
Thanks. Get from photo location to photo location. A little bit of a cloudy day, but on the New Hope, that's not necessarily a bad thing in a lot of places because of, like you see, there's a lot of trees here. Near the town of Buckingham, this is at Nonsuch Farm. I'm not sure what the Reading and Northern hopper car was doing there. There you see our 3 coaches on the, or maybe it's 4 coaches on the back of the train there. I've done charters on this railroad where we've had it had the locomotive actually set back to either its Lancaster and Chester or Cliffside paint scheme. This trip here, though, we left it New Hope and Ivyland. As you can see, this bridge here, we worked different angles on for a variety of run-bys. The highlight, though, is the big bridge. On on the line.
At Rushland.
Rushland, thank you. Gosh. Phew. I tell you, these brain farts are getting worse every day, it seems like. Yes, the Rushland Trestle, thank you. And a little bit of sun here, which is a good thing. Good looking locomotive. Like I said, it's been the workhorse at the railroad for decades now. My attempt at a pan shot. And another pan shot. They put together a pretty good looking freight train. Got the job done. And then we had to go into the hole at Lahaska to meet the regular service passenger train, which was diesel powered. Here it comes down from New Hope to Lahaska. We're in the siding just behind where the photo is being taken here. And of course, we're getting some really cool wintertime storm light in the sky over there. Nice dark gray sky. Diesel ran around the train. Here comes back out of the run around at Lahaska. And then once he's clear, we could do our photo run-bys with the steam freight.
Beautiful shot,
Got
Steve.
that cool winter sky. I'm not sure why we had people on the tie pile in the photo. Or it could be I was just lazy and didn't walk down beyond the tie pile where the real photo line was. But anyhow, this is apparently the view from the top of the tie pile. The second run by, I went down there and climbed up. And then from there, we left New Hope and drove down to Delaware to the Wilmington Western in Greenbank, which is actually located in the city limits of Wilmington. And we did night photos with their cool ex-Mississippi Central 440 number 98. One thing about Greenbank is there is a ton of ambient light from shopping centers. Even though you're seeing like a very rural look here, woodsy look, major shopping centers just up the hill. And the sodium vapor and mercury vapor lights just give this really weird orange glow. Just outside of the Greenbank station is this first bridge of many over Red Clay Creek. Yes, the water tank does function. The station on the right is the old Yorkland station, a town that is about 6 or 7 miles up the line. It was moved from Yorkland down here to Greenbank. This is the next Baltimore and Ohio branch. Next morning, we're out for our photo trip. No freight cars, passenger train, but let me tell you, the Wilmington Western with this 440, one of the few, if not the only 440 in semi-regular service in the United States. This 440 looks really good, and the train they have behind it, even though it's lettered Wilmington and Western, is a good looking train. Here we are at that first bridge, just out of the Green Bank station. Unfortunately, the locomotive faces north, which makes for some challenging photography at times, such as right here, shooting back into the sun. Another shot coming up across that first bridge out of Green Bank. And I thought, how was this going to look in black and white? So I gave that a try. Pretty pleased with the result. These bridges were, until 15 years ago, no, more than that now, 25 years ago, were all wooden trestles. But then this area had back-to-back 500-year floods in a 3-year span. And it destroyed some bridges. The bridges that weren't destroyed had such a huge pile of debris piled against them that they tore all the wooden trestles out and replaced them with these steel bridges with much wider spans, so stuff can get through them and they won't wash away in floods. Like I said, it's a good looking train, combine and 2 coaches behind a 440. Really looks sharp. And we did run-bys at probably 5 or 6 different bridges on this trip. One thing about shooting towards the sun, though, is you get some backlighting, and backlighting really brings out the texture in the smoke. In fact, if you go over to Great Britain and ride a fan trip over there, they actually prefer their locomotives to be coming out of the sun to give the texture in the smoke. Whereas in America, usually the charter operators far prefer the locomotives running into the sun, properly 3/4 lit. So a little bit of difference there. Here's the big cut at Wooddale. And that Sharpless Road near Ashland, little spillway there. This spillway has since been removed. And now you just got a trickle of a stream going by here. This is the old National Vulcanized Fiber, NVF, plant in York Lynn. It was shut down several years ago. There were plans to redevelop it. The big buildings in the background were left standing. Some other buildings were torn down. They left those big buildings in the background standing, though, for redevelopment. Unfortunately, fire went through there about 5 years ago and completely destroyed the buildings, leaving just the stone walls standing. They haven't knocked the stone walls down yet. I don't know if they've made a final decision yet as to whether they want to try to salvage what's still there, or if they're going to just give up and knock everything down. But everything, the roof is completely gone in this building now. Nothing left of it. Not hard to find a bridge in the Wilmington and Western. This is the only truss bridge on the line. This is at Ashland. And now we're getting later into the day. Sun's beginning to set. Getting some of that backlighting here on the smoke again. And end of the day. Just about sunset. That's actually going to wrap things up. I do want to mention one thing before I sign off here. I've been working on my YouTube channel a little bit. Steve Barry Photography on YouTube. There are 3 playlists there. One of the playlists is all the old Wednesday night slideshows, 42 of those from when I was doing it on Zoom. I haven't gone back and tried to salvage the old Facebook Live ones from the very early days yet. I will at some point. There's also some live action shorts there. Trains with natural sound video, ranging from 2.5 minutes up to about 12 minutes. And then there's also some musical shorts there. I got 3 of those posted so far. They're multimedia slideshows, music and slides. I've done the Clinchfield Santa train. I've done the Wiscasset, Waterville, and Farmington, and I did my favorite photos from 2024. Those are all there on YouTube. Stop by if you get a chance. With that, wrapping things up, next program is February 26th. That's a Wednesday, obviously. Whoops. And I think what I'm going to do next time, somebody posted some stuff on Facebook today of the Orange Blossom Cannonball that ran out of Tavares, Florida. Neat operation with a wood-burning 260. I've shown some of that stuff as part of a broader show on Florida and things like that. I think I'm going to do some more stuff with that next month too, as well as current events, and there'll be some other stuff there as well. Anyhow, with that, I'm going to sign off for all the folks on YouTube and